I'm happily married for over 10 years now and have a daughter who's 8. I say happily, I mean that we have great conversation, respectful arguing, and no bigger issues except one, the sex. This is pretty common, though. This has happened a few times. First year after the baby, I was there. I was understanding and patient. Next one, too, and so on and so on. She just doesn't have the need to be happy. No horniness whatsoever. I'm certainly not the best version of myself working on it, but I'm also pretty sure that I'm the guy that she married. I didn't become an alcoholic, always paid the bills, and available most of the time, so on and so forth. So I've talked about relationship equity a few times now. What you're talking about there is I'm the guy that didn't turn into an alcoholic. I paid the bills and I was available most of the time. Those are sound bites that people use when they try to project outwardly that they are openly invested deeply in the relationship. Guys keep score differently than women. It works like this. Let's use Valentine's Day, for example. Guy buys roses, 1 point. Buys a card, another point. Sets up an arrangement for dinner, another point. Gets dressed nicely, gets whatever to get ready for the date, another point. And they'll keep points on these individual points, but women keep it differently. It's like 1 point for taking them out for Valentine's Day. Okay, so you can't ever assume that there's this point or this deposit withdrawal system that you can use under the terms of a relationship equity. It doesn't matter. Braffolt's law says very clearly that men are only useful to women so long as they're useful, essentially. So that's the first flaw that I can see in what you're writing here. Second, let me go on. Now, some months ago, I was very pushy to the point where she told me to go fuck whomever I wanted. I didn't. Later, I told her I'm here for her, and that triggered something. She never really had someone really being there for her, and so she realized how happy she was having me. And she made some effort to please me. So you got the sympathy sex, let's call it. I had this friend that told me one time that his wife would give him sex once a month. That's called sympathy sex. That's not desire. I'll talk more about that in a minute, though. So some time passed and she started again shaming me for my desires. Well, finding moments where I was not fully attentive and therefore hurt her feelings. Now, my question, is the shit already at the curb? Is there any chance that I can get this woman to respect me and my needs again? Or will she always fall back to shaving me and keep me small until I'm really ready to leave her? I can convince her by using blackmailing. I can convince her using blackmailing? Okay. If she's afraid enough to lose me, she does everything. But somehow she quickly forgets that recipe for our common luck again and looks for excuses, starts shaming and arguing again. Stupid reasoning, by the way. A blowjob takes 10 minutes, an argument takes hours. How can I make her realize what she really has? A man that has a well-paying job, no drug issues, not violent, great dad, listening, loyal, blah, 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 blah. Interesting topic. Okay. All right, let's hit the road because I got to get places. Close this over here. And so, turn that off. So, a couple things here. Again, the relationship equity thing, you mentioned it again at the end of the message that, I'm the good guy, I've done this and that, I've never let her down. These are all very needy, very beta type behaviors. They're very... Brakes always do that when they're cold in this car, and it's cold here in Toronto now. So they're very baity, they're very needy, they're very... It's not masculine energy, okay? It's not alpha energy. You've got to have game even into your married years. I mean, I wasn't married for a long time, so I can't really say, hey, I was married for 20 years, this is what you can do. I have friends that have been married for a long time, and one in particular, which I would definitely look up to and use as a model of somebody that understands how to have game in a long-term relationship and continue to create desire. Because the question that always comes up, I mean, Esther Perel talks about this in her books and her materials and her videos all the time, is how do you desire something that you already have? Because that's what you're actually saying, you've been married for a long time. How do you maintain the sexual desire when you already have somebody? How do you want to fuck somebody that you're already with? And I've said this before in videos. I'll say it again. There's a big, big difference between sexual intercourse or your wife giving you sex, which is the worst version of it possibly. It's like she's trying to placate you. I'll tell you a story in a minute about that. Versus proper fucking. Bent over, face in the pillow, give it to me like you own it type of sex is what I'm talking about. There's a big difference. It might sound like the same thing, big difference. One has desire, one is a placating sort of, let me just satisfy him sort of method story. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with women that were married or in a long-term relationship, but mostly were married over a long period of time, where they avoided to large degrees any opportunity that would put them in an environment where they would have to be intimate with their husband. They would do whatever they can or could to avoid scenarios like that. I've heard women say that they would go to the bathroom and cry after sex, or they knew every Friday night after the kids went to sleep, their partner would come to them and make advances, sexual advances, obviously, to be intimate. And they would find ways to be busy or be out at a book club or reading a book. And it's like, I would hear these stories from women. Some of them, I was actually dating, and they're very sexual, very intimate with me, but so fucking low key with their partner, with their married husband, the person they're supposed to be with for the rest of their life. I mean, maintaining high desire and intimacy in a long-term relationship is difficult. You have to have game. I talk often in these videos about becoming the best version of yourself, becoming a better man. You open in your email to me something along the lines of, I'm driving right now, so I'm not going to find the piece of paper, but something along the lines of, I'm kind of working on myself. So to me, that indicates you're not the best version of yourself. I'm guessing you're probably, been married for a few years. You might have the proverbial dad bod, which, by the way, guys, is a little bullshit. One of the guys that was a speaker at the 21 convention back in September, what's his name? Ryan, I can't remember. Anyway, but he runs the Reddit subreddit called Married Red Pill. And his entire talk was essentially based on having long-term game in a marriage or a relationship. And there's going to be times where your woman's going to decline you. She's going to say no. One of the options you have, because she presented it to you, was go fuck somebody else. At which point, this does save some marriages, believe it or not. There are people that I know, and you can read about it in a lot of Esther Perel's writings about marriage and long-term relationships and desire, that have saved their marriages by opening them up, or by giving the other partner a hall pass to do what they want just because they don't have that desire. Desire in women tanks a lot quicker in long-term relationships versus men. Go back in my videos, you'll see I've spoken about this before. If you take a 20-year relationship, desire in men goes down very slowly, whereas in women, it goes down very quickly. So for guys, you always have to game your wives. You can't get complacent. You can't sit on the couch and watch football, bring me a bag of chips, whatever, and just get lazy and stop dating her. You're actually going to have to do work. And this is this is a reason why a lot of guys sometimes just look at the dynamics of a long-term relationship or marriage and they say it's not worth it. Sometimes they'll, subscribe to the notion of MGTOW and not dating in long-term relationships because of the effort required to game your wife, partner, girlfriend on a long-term basis. It's not easy. It's hard. You have to do work. You have to be the best version of yourself. There's nothing that turns a woman off more than a guy that isn't. If you're rudderless in life, you don't know where you're going, you've been doing the same job for the last 10 years, nothing's changed, you haven't improved the welfare of your household, your castle, your family, your children, child, whatever, and you're still kind of like, bouncing along the bottom, there's nothing that dries a woman's pussy up more than being rudderless in your life. It's a true story. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the Courses tab. Newer to the channel? Hit subscribe.